Okay. Oh, I think it's like almost going live. I think.
Meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Woo!
Yes.
We did it.
Woo! Technology professionals.
Seriously.
Psych.
How many coaches does it take to get online? Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I hope you guys are enjoying this beautiful day. And I hope that you're able to catch us live. If not, make sure you watch the replay because this is going to be real juicy stuff, because we're talking about calling in healthy love. Everything that you guys are talking about, everything that you talk about and want, in regards to how to move forward from the toxic, dysfunctional, narcissist, addict, manipulative person, and set your intention in your heart on healthy love. So today I have with me beautiful Nikki McMillian. She is the owner, founder, creator of A Confident Woman Unleashed. She has an amazing Facebook group and Facebook community, which I will let her tell you more about. And yeah, Nikki, tell us a little bit about yourself, introduce us, let us get to know you.
Thank you so much, Brittany. And thank you for calling me amazing, beautiful Nikki. Like, talk about an affirmation. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so hello, everyone. So yes, my name is Nikki McMillian. I'm a woman's life and relationship coach. A little bit about me. I am in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And I live here with my fiance, my cute little dog, Pepsi. And yeah, I mean, that's just a little bit about like me on the professional end. I've been helping women in their relationships, and also, I mean, first and most importantly, the relationship with themselves. And then we get on to the relationship with, with another, the romantic relationship. So I've been doing this work for about 5 years, and it's so far so good. Everyone is alive, growing, overcoming, healing, and really discovering their this badass, confident woman within them. So it's a fun journey. It requires commitment, but it's also a fun journey.
I love that. I love that. So one thing that's really cool about Nikki and I is that we met in a coaching program about 2 years ago. And, we both were kind of like keeping an eye on each other, just like feeling each other out. And then more recently, we're like, you know what? I like what she's got. I like what she's got. And we connected again, and it's just been magic. So we both are in very similar spaces. And what was so cool about us is that we're coming from these different perspectives, but we both have the same end goal, right? Is to make sure the women that we are serving find their inner light so that they can shine and attract the right types of partners to them, which is why this conversation is going to be so great. So I have a question for you, Nikki.
Yes.
What is your most favorite growth moment of 2020?
Oh my gosh, my most favorite growth moment of 2020, COVID, this global crisis that we've been in. I'm not happy about it. It's not super duper exciting, but it really, I say it's my favorite because I'm really discovering who I am when things aren't going right, right? When there is like big time crisis, like we have our little crises throughout the days, right? Throughout the week, like we all have problems. Like no one's special who is struggling. We all have our struggles, our obstacles, our problems, our challenges. But I really think, with this whole COVID situation, it really is, it shows you who you are. It shows more of your character. It shows more of where you need to, work on yourself a bit more. And it also shows you how it really brings to the surface the work that you have done. When I say work, I mean the inner work. So it's been in that, and what was the question? The most exciting growth moment?
Yeah.
That COVID-19, man, it's crazy.
I love what you said in regards to how how you got to see how you would react when things don't go well, right? Like it really pushed you, it pushed all of us out of our comfort zone. But those of us who decided to maybe use this time to really dig a little deeper and do some more healing and figure out where our shadow work is and like where our inner child is still like screaming and the whole thing, it really is this very, very powerful healing place that we can come from because of this pandemic, if we allow it. So I love, love, love that. Okay, so another question. So since we're talking about healthy love,
yeah.
What does healthy love mean to you?
What does healthy love mean to me? I really think it means having a healthy relationship with yourself. It really means accepting yourself for who you are, what you've been through, and just really, having love for just your past, what you've learned, and learning to accept yourself and have compassion and patience and love for yourself. I think healthy love starts with you.
Yeah.
It starts with me. It starts with everybody.
Yeah.
And this is just the short answer to the question. But when you are in a good place with yourself, your relationships in all other areas of your life are going to be better because of that.
100%.
I'm not saying we can change people or we need to, be in relationship with everyone we know, like family, friends, other people. Like you need to know where your boundaries should be. But I really believe that if you are in a good place with yourself, then that's the first thing. That's healthy love. When you're in a good place with yourself, you're going to have an easier time or more enjoying the process time of calling in that healthy love when it comes to a partner.
Right.
That makes sense.
Totally, because it won't be so stressed, right? Because you're so in love with yourself that you're not really stressed about finding someone right now in order to complete you or to like finish this, to like make you feel better about who you are. When you feel good about who you are, then calling in love feels easy because it's like, oh, if it comes, great. If not, I still am enjoying my time with myself. It's great. So how would you describe healthy love with a partner?
Healthy love with a partner.
Yeah. How can you distinguish a relationship that's healthy from a relationship that's not?
Yeah, that's a big question. So I'll answer it in the energy that I'm in today. I think, having healthy love with a partner is, I think there's a few things that need to be pretty solid. Number one is communication. If you have good communication, transparent communication, like respectful communication, vulnerable communication, you can just really communicate your needs and your wants with someone, and you hold the space for them to communicate their needs and their wants, their fears, their doubts, all of that stuff. You're setting that relationship up for success.
Yeah.
So I think communication is number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, I really think it's hard to grow as a healthy couple if you don't share some of the same values. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just thinking back to some relationships I was in. Yeah, there might have been great chemistry, great sex, fun time together. But when it really came down to it, when we were bumping heads on values, when it came to, just for example, like our ambition or work ethic, maybe someone is just some things that are popping up in my mind. If they don't really have let's say you're someone who is driven and ambitious and you have these goals and these dreams for where you want to be in 5 years. But they're kind of like, no, I'm just living, by the seat of my pants. I'm just enjoying the day and, I'm just, enjoying my life. And I get that, enjoy your life. Like, I want to enjoy my life too, but there has to be some kind of like shared value of what you see together 2 years ahead, 3 years ahead, 5 years ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And another example was shared values. So like for me, an example would be like health, like I I care about my health. I care about, like eating healthier and exercising and not like getting shit faced, 5 nights a week. So if I'm dating someone, which I did date someone who was like that, it just was like, God, man, no matter the chemistry and other good things, but it's like, they don't care. Like they don't care about this. They don't care about that. When it comes, I'm like, it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
Because it's going to throw a wrench in my life and I'm just going to hold resentment and it's just not going to be good.
Well, I was going to say, like, have you ever found where you're with somebody and because of their maybe negative habits or negative behaviors, you start to compromise how you would put, like, all your values, right? The things that you love for the sake of the good sex and the good times and the fear of being alone. And, and so there is this, if you are not aligning with somebody on their value system, it's really easy to get caught up and sucked into their world, which may be of a lower vibration, right?
Oh my God, yeah. Oh my God, yeah. Yeah, and yeah, totally. And I'm just sitting here thinking, just with some of my past relationships, and I'm just like, yeah, man, I stayed in that one way past his expiration date.
Right.
And it would end even more poorly because I was the one settling and trying to stick it out 6 months longer than I should have.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. And then I'm starting to like just feel bad and get nasty and resentful and turning into this crazy person. And it's just like wasn't good. So, it's healthy relationship together. It's communication. It's shared values. And it's also, the third thing is just being on the same page with having a similar vision of what you see in your future together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Because if you see that you want to be married and then they don't, or you want kids and they don't, or you want to maybe move somewhere, in the next 5 years or whatever, and they don't. And it's like, dude, like just talk about these things. I'm not saying on the first date, but like for me, I'm like, okay, then we're going to go on a couple of dates, but I pretty soon, fairly early on, that was my new standard when I got back in the dating field before I met Fiance. I'm like, no, I want to know, we're in our 30s. I want to know what you see for yourself. That was important to me.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that like, that's probably where a lot of people maybe get stuck. And maybe you can attest to this for your clients too, which is this, they find somebody, they feel like their goals are okay and they're kind of aligning, but because of the fear and the scripts that they're playing out over and over again about not being worthy or deserving, or maybe, they're with somebody who is better than them or whatever it is, they get trapped in this cycle of like accommodating or people pleasing. And so part of me is wondering, like, do you think that this is a woman thing, right? Like women are conditioned to be more, not necessarily submissive, but just like compromising in their relationships?
Yeah. I mean, I totally do. I totally do think women struggle with this a lot more than men. I think hands down, most women struggle with self-worth issues, like a lot.
Yeah.
And we don't, and they don't want to be alone, because if you think about it, like if you're someone, for example, you're someone in your 30s or 40s, maybe you've been married a couple of times, maybe you've just been in a lot of relationships and you're just like, God, like, I just don't want to be alone. People start to freak out when they're in their 30s or 40s. Oh, I don't want to be alone. It's like, dude, like, I mean, like, I understand, like, I get it. But at the same time, when you're settling for less than you really want, and a lot of times women settle for less than what they want. It's because they don't feel worthy of it. They feel that they're a handful. They're asking for too much. They also feel like they just don't want to be alone.
Mm.
So they'll take what they'll get. It's not that bad. It's not
Yeah.
that bad. He only says mean things to me. It's just once or twice a week. It's not that bad.
Right.
He never really hit me.
Right.
It's just mean, and it's like,
he had a bad day, or, this is just something
yeah,
off for him, not necessarily taking in account all the other times that this event has happened, in the past. Like we have, what do you call it? Like retrograde amnesia, where we just forget all the things that happened before because we're so focused on the expectation of the relationship, what the relationship could be, right? Falling in love with potential versus actually falling in love.
Yep.
And this is why, like, we're having this conversation, right, guys? Because when we fall in love with the potential of someone being whomever you think that they can be, and they're not that right then and there, you're not calling in healthy love, right? You're not, that's not healthy. Falling in love with the version of somebody that doesn't exist isn't fair to you, and it's not fair to them. So
I love how you said that, falling in love with the potential. That's a big one. And the other thing is, I feel like women, like I'm just thinking about some of my clients. A lot of my clients are self-sufficient. Like they can take care of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then they also feel like they're like, some of them are like fixers.
Yeah.
Like I can like fix this, or I can, like, they just are like they're like fixers. And if I do this, or if I help with this, or if I try that, maybe it can be different. And some of them even struggle with like dimming their light. Maybe I am, too, like, maybe it's just a little intimidating, or they feel uncomfortable, or whatever makes them feel uncomfortable, or makes them feel uncomfortable. And they just kind of like start to scale back on their independence, or really owning who they are and what they've accomplished.
Totally. And I was talking to one of my clients actually the other day, and she's like, I think it's like natural to kind of dim yourself and like try to compromise. And I was like, yes, a little bit in the beginning while you're figuring out the balance, but you should never dim yourself or stop doing the things that make you happy, just to make the relationship work. It should be more that the relationship fits into the things that you're already doing, right? You guys happen to love the same things. And so I think sometimes we get kind of caught up in this, again, this image of what we think relationships are supposed to look like, filled with all of this compromise. And relationships are compromise, but I don't think it's a compromise we all talk about, right? It's not like compromising my values or compromising my soul to fit with this person. It's compromising in communication. It's compromising in like, where did the pillows go in your house? Different things, Yeah.
And one other thing too, Brittany, and I just think about this. It's like, let's say you are an ambitious woman and you can hold your own, right? Mm-hmm. And you got your own thing going on. You want someone who acknowledges that, mm-hmm. who is excited for you, mm-hmm. and who can, just pray, like just celebrate you for that. I think about that now. I'm like, with the relationship that I'm in now with my fiance, with Andre, I'm like, he just celebrates me all day long, and I celebrate him all day long too. Mm-hmm. And I just think back sometimes, to my other, I'm writing a book right now, and I'm thinking back to my other relationships, because I'm sharing some of these stories, and I'm like, man, I cannot believe I allowed that. Like, what? How did I allow that to happen? Mm-hmm. But I was just, a relationship. My last relationship before I met Andre, it was just him always shutting me down. Like, why? Like, it's weird hosting a meeting at a hotel from 7 p.m. to 9:30. Like, that's weird, Nikki. But that's what our business was. We host meetings, do trainings. It would make me feel bad about that. Yeah. I bought into that.
Right.
I started scaling back.
Right.
Because I let him get into my head, that I was struggling with my own self-worth issues due to the breakup prior to that. So I'm just like, it was just crazy what had happened, how here I am, this one person, and then I just let this guy just get into my head and really like make me think that I was weird or not a good girlfriend because I was working late some nights out of the week for my business. It was just, it's amazing how quickly we can give our power away.
Yes, yes. What I loved about that statement is the compounding, right? So I think we try so hard just to go and float and just like go from one situation or event, end it, and then go to the next. But that emotional shame, that emotional pain lives on in us until we clear it and like fix it. And so we're talking about compounding. We're compounding from relationship to relationship. You're talking from like one boyfriend to another.
Yeah.
What about all the compounded like shame and stuff that comes from your family and from your, upbringing in your childhood, and from you not making the soccer team that one time, or you not getting this award at school? Like all of that stuff compounds and really does take a toll on our self-esteem, self-worth, what we think that we're valuable for, what we're available for. And it's a wonder why we just allow vagabonds in our life, right? Why we get so sucked into it. It's because we believe first that's what we deserve. Because the same thing happened to me. Same thing happened to me too. So what was the shift for you? Oh, I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. You just brought up, the compounding, and it starts from childhood. It's so true, just real quickly. And this is the very first exercise I take my clients through. It's their story. It's their timeline of significant life events from birth to today. And you'll always notice that the self-worth issues, the I'm not enough, it all stems from childhood, right? So it's like, I think about this, and I'll just do an example of my own life. Dad left when I was 3, gone, right? And both my parents struggled with drug and alcohol addiction, in and out of rehab. We were back and forth with my dad until we weren't seeing him anymore. But, the only male figure in our life left, right? And then mom is struggling. So right there's who loves me, who wants me. That's where it stems from. Even if you're 3, 4, or 5, it's already the energy and the experiences, which we're not aware of in our, how young we are in that little brain, but it's already starting there, going back and forth. And just little things that might be said, here and there. So it's always like, what was your parents' relationship like growing up? Even if they weren't divorced and both parents were around, what was their relationship like? And then what was your relationship like with mom, or your relationship like with dad? That would tell you right there where the self-worth seed was getting planted and sprouted. Yeah. Do you do that stuff with your clients?
I do. I've been doing timeline stories forever, and it's such a powerful process. Before it was like such an ordeal when I used to do it as a therapist. We do it was like a trauma story. So there was like a 4-part series to this trauma story to reintegrate your brain to create a new message. And so I do that now still, but in a lighter way. And it's the most powerful tool next to gratitude that I think that I take my clients through as well, because it is true. Like, and not that you want everything to start in childhood, but our lives are, so modeling is the strongest form of learning. Whatever we learn in the first 0 to about 10, sometimes you can extend it to about 14 ages of life, are the most rudimentary, fundamental parts of your being. And so if you picked up a message that, wow, people leave me, or people abandon me, or I'm not lovable enough, my parents don't even want me, whatever that story is, unless you face it head on and really get to the root of it not really being your truth, you will carry that story into your relationships and try to. So I have this theory that we try to recreate in our relationships the same scene or situation in our childhood in hopes, like I think it's in hopes that we'll finally come to some conclusion or rectify it. But unless we're doing it consciously, we will always end up with the same feelings and the same outcomes. So it is like, our childhood is like, unfortunately, it's a lot of what we, you know what I mean?
It's so powerful to go through that process in the beginning, the timeline, because then once you're working through it, you do it right from birth to today. Now you just have clarity. You have clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And clarity is power. Clarity is some form of closure. Clarity is like, wow, okay, now I know why I feel the way I feel about myself. Now I know why I am where I am. So you can have clarity and you can have compassion for your story. Then now you can get to work on rewriting it.
Yeah. Now you have control, right? You have control over the outcomes and the new story that you want to tell. Such powerful stuff. So for you, whenever you, because of your history, like when did you make the shift from dating? Like what was in your mind that made you shift into like actually starting to call in healthy love?
I hit rock bottom basically, you know, in all areas of my life. So I'm 36 now. When I turned 30 was when I threw my hands up in the air. I'm like, it's no longer working. It's no longer working. Trying to prove myself at work, get validation, get love there, get acceptance there. The last 10 to 12 years of my dating life, it's not working. My strategy is no longer working. And it was just heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak. And I just got sick of it. I got sick of it. And, also that was when I met a friend actually. And sometimes I forget about meeting this one friend. It's probably because we weren't really really good friends because we just, again, different values, different perspectives. But with this friend, I remember meeting up at Panera Bread, and she was telling me about this workshop she was going to because she had trouble with her relationship. She told me about it. And the woman holding the workshop, she was an author and she wrote a book. And then that's when I got into learning. I was in personal development books, but more so for business stuff and mindset. Never about love and relationship, because I have my own strategy. And when I break up, just hop back on, Match.com or Tinder and just, replace. And, but then I started reading about love and relationships, self-love, relationship with yourself. And that's when I found out about, there's life coaching. I can really get help with these problems I'm having. There's actually assistance. And that's when my journey started, was at 30.
That's incredible. One thing I loved about this especially is because you were able to, even though you had this formula in your mind and you thought it was going to work out, and then you realized it wasn't working. You humbled yourself enough to get help, right? So one thing I think a lot of maybe people who see us, our clients who are kind of just looking at us, they might not think that we have our own coaches, or that we go through our own therapy, or that we have our own process or problems, right? And these are never anything that we're trying to promote that we don't have. In fact, it is very imperative, I think, for everybody on the healer side of things who's doing the coaching to have their own coach, to have their own therapist. So Nikki and I both are doing the work, alongside you, which is so important for the process. And it shifted your life. It sounds like it completely shifted mine.
Well, that's how I became a coach. So when I discovered that, okay, I don't have to pretend to be someone I'm not in my romantic relationships, with friends, with family. When I realized, because I enrolled into a program, it was a 3-month program with this coach. So when I started to realize that, hey, I could really be myself and start to do the healing work, and I started really taking my power back. It happened pretty quickly for me because I was all in. I'm I am effing in. Like, cause I was just sick and tired of being lonely and just being depressed, and tired and exhausted. So I was committed. I was all in. I did all the work. And whenever you're starting to make some big changes, it's actually kind of supposed to be a lonely process for a little bit, because you're discovering more about yourself. You're doing your healing work. You're dating yourself. You're getting to know yourself. So it's going to be lonely for a little bit. So I was going through that process with my coach, and then, I just started realizing, like, this is life-changing. She helped me not just with my relationships, but in other areas. I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. If I can change my life, how I changed my life in this short period of time, this is what I want to do for a living. And that's how I transitioned.
Wow.
It was about a year to really, like, can I do it? Can I really help people? There was some doubt there, and figuring out how to do it and how to start, building that community. And yeah, and like, you're right. Like, to this day, I have a coach in my life. I'm part of a mastermind. I'm part of different communities. And I also work with a coach once a month, because I just need accountability. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I get in my own head at times too.
Totally.
And I need someone to confide in, who was outside of my life, because they're going to call me out on my stuff. And they're also going to help me see my blind spots.
Totally. Yeah. No, I think that like, if there's one thing that I've learned probably in COVID, is that I can't do this alone. Yeah. I was never meant to do this alone. And I really can't do this alone. Like, I need community. I need accountability. I need support. I need people to think unlike me, so I can see beyond my own limited perspective. And it makes all the difference in the world when you realize that you're not alone, and you don't have to be on this journey by yourself. Even if it is a little lonely while you're going through it, like, you're not really alone.
Yeah. Yes, so, exactly.
Yeah. So, like, shifting to how that translated to you calling in your fiance, like, what was the process of that, like, dating differently?
Yeah, it's so funny you asking this. I did a video on this in my Facebook group yesterday. So after working with my coach, doing the deep work for about 3 to 4 months, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna start dating. I'm gonna start dating. And at that time, and it still is, Tinder is still a thing, but I went on Tinder, and I had no attachment to the outcome. I just wanted to test my new confident, unleashed self. I just wanted to test how I'm going to start showing up with dates. Like, is it going to be different this time, or am I still going to try and, like, meet them and impress them? I wanted to show up as my true self. And I did that going in without attachment. Right. So I just went on dates. And I went on dates, and I practiced speaking up. I practiced being my real self, letting my personality come out. A lot of times when I'm hanging out with friends or family or people, I value deep conversation. I don't really talk surface level that much. I mean, maybe sometimes, but I do value, like I really want to get to know the person and what makes them tick. And sometimes people don't go there. It's, like, weird to them. But I'm like, no, I want to know who you are.
Right.
Yeah. So I tested that out on these dates, and I would ask questions, and I would answer questions how I wanted to answer questions. And it was an experiment. It was fun. And I also noticed more of just more red flags coming up, that before I'd be, like, just brushing it off. But immediately I would notice red flags of, okay, are they in the inner, and I would pay attention to the energy. I wouldn't let it be, nervous energy or whatever. I would pay attention when there wasn't a true connection, or if I didn't really feel like they were listening, or really cared or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So I just went on a few dates without attachment, and that was powerful. I really recommend that for people. Like once you've gone through the process of doing your deep inner healing work and dating yourself and really getting to know who you are, go date. Just go date just for the fun of it.
Yes. Yes.
Go date for the fun of it, to test out your new self.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I did. That's what I did. And I also and I met, before I met Andre, I met, some nice guys.
Yeah.
But they were nice guys, but my standards went from here to here. You see, I wasn't settling anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they're nice. Women will be like, but they're so nice. I'll give them a shot. Maybe we'll see where it goes. No. You're nice, but you're still not to my standard on ambition, on what your goals are, on a future vision. It was no more BS.
Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible what shifts whenever you're more in the pocket of your own worthiness, right? And what you know that you deserve. So when you have that mindset shift, that heart shift, when you're dating, again, there are no attachments because it is more fun. And there's I don't know. I remember the same thing happened to me where it's like, I'm calling out all these great guys, but they just aren't my guy. That's cool.
Right.
And it's just whatever, because I think there are several reasons why we get confused about the term dating, right? I definitely think that now it's really, really watered down. Now it's just basically sex, I would say, with easy access to tons of people, which I do not recommend just having a bunch of sex with people, because I think that it ruins a lot of your energy and you have to know why you're doing it. And unless you do it with the right intentions, it's probably more harmful than good. But what I will say is that we think that dating is, I'm trying to find my husband right now. And it's no, you're just trying to get to know people. You're going on dates to get to know whether or not you have chemistry, to get to know whether or not you can communicate with this person, if you can have the same values and have the same vision, everything that you were talking about.
Yeah.
For dating really isn't supposed to be this, I'm finding this, my husband tomorrow. It's not supposed to be that pressured, but we put a lot of pressure on it, which is different than your worth. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. It's just going, and that's what guys do. They go in dating, test it out, see what it's like. So, women can do the same thing. I mean, I'm not saying I never so my values are different when it comes to my body. I was never one to really sleep around. I'm not judging anyone who does that. As a matter of fact, actually, I would do that in my 20s. I probably would get intimate a lot. Not probably, I did. But when I was back into the dating field 5 years ago, I was like, okay, no more of that. What's this unspoken rule of, okay, we've been together 2 weeks now, we should have sex. What the F is that? That is don't no. You make your own rules.
Mm-hmm.
Make your own rules. But so anyway, so then I met Andre, and he's it was funny. Let me just tell you this. This is a funny story. So we met at this Italian restaurant, and I was more attracted to him, but I was more confident. I didn't think, okay, oh my God, I'm losing my power because so attractive. I'm like, okay, so he's cute. He's more, more attractive. European guy from Ukraine. I don't really know anything about Ukraine, but it's just Europeans have a certain look. So it's more like it was just more sexy looking. We met. And then dude had braces. And I'm like, man, you never have shared in any of your photos braces, because he was always like, in all the photos, just heads up, if there are a lot of smiley photos with no teeth showing, it's probably because they're trying to hide something. So anyway, so he had braces, and I told him, I'm like, you have braces. He's like, my appointment was supposed to be yesterday, so I wasn't even supposed to have these on when I met you. So, but he still showed up, right, for the date anyway. So I just thought that was cool. I was like, okay, he still showed up. And right away when we met, he was just confident and comfortable in his own skin, and I was confident and comfortable in my own skin. And you could just tell we were two independent people who knew who they were.
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. Makes all the difference.
Yeah, it really does. And we just we took it slow. I told him too from the first date. I'm like, listen, I'm a turtle in dating right now. I move really slow. So I'm not someone who's going to move fast. Just want to let you know that now. That's the intention here. It's not going to work. And we just took it really slow. We weren't even intimate until after 3 months when we had sex.
Yeah. So, okay. So this is like probably such an important point, right? Because I think, especially when we're in love with being in love, that feeling of in love can feel very like fast and passionate and like quick and like just a whirlwind romance, right? And that typically lends itself to some trouble. We miss red flags. We end up with narcissists. We just end up in really unhealthy situations where we're codependent or have poor attachment issues to the person that we're dating. And so if there is anything that you take from this conversation, listen to two women who met their dudes on Tinder, who are engaged after being together for like almost 4 years each.
Yeah.
We took it nice and slow. I don't even think I let Eric kiss me until the third date, which is like totally different from who I used to be in my 20s. But you know what I mean? Like it was so much different. And I allowed myself to be comfortable, and I allowed him to also set the pace too for our time together. So there was also this, which we probably have to have a whole different conversation on masculine and feminine energy and how you show up with that energy in a relationship, especially when you're a strong, independent woman. So maybe we schedule for one of those conversations.
Okay, sounds good.
But yeah, so it's just a different pace. It's totally a different pace. And I love that you said that, and that was still congruent and consistent with everything I've been teaching. So thank you.
Yeah. And it's really, the other thing was this, I have a couple businesses, right? I have my coaching business, and I also have an insurance business. And I wasn't really busy with my coaching work when me and him, met. I was really busy with my insurance work. And I traveled a lot. I had to go to hotels and host meetings and do trainings, a lot. I would go back and forth across, the East Coast to build my team and just do what I do. And there was never any guilt trip on that. As a matter of fact, some conferences, he would say, I would like to come and see what you do and see what it'd be like weekend conferences. He was like, I would, just so you know, I wouldn't mind coming one weekend if you want me to come. I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. He would come, listen, take notes. So, just really supportive. Never try to pull me away from my goals and my dreams. Fully supportive. My other relationships, it was, you work so much. You're always working late. You're doing, and it's like, but it was none of that. If anything, how can I support you more? Yeah. And how can I also stay out of your way when you need me to stay out of your way?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, healthy love, y'all. That's what it looks like. That's what it feels like. It feels so different and foreign to anything you may have ever allowed in your life before, you start dating with a healthier mindset.
Yeah.
So I hope that our conversation with you is getting your wheels turning to finding a way for you to implement some of the things that we're talking about. When you're not coaching, because I don't know, what time is it? Oh, I guess it's about 5:45. How much time did you allot for today? I want to be mindful.
We can go till 6, maybe an hour.
Okay, yeah. Cool. Okay, so what is your approach to healing?
What is my approach to healing?
Mm-hmm.
So ask me a little bit more specific. What do you mean?
Ooh, dang it. I was hoping that with being vague, you would answer it in whatever way that came to you. So, your approach to healing, you.
Okay. So there's a couple of different things that we struggle with that we need to work on healing. It could be relationships with family, when a friend has betrayed you. And I guess in this situation, since we're talking about, romantic relationships, just healing from past heartache and just feeling like betrayed, or, you know, if you've been ghosted or cheated on, or just really were in a toxic relationship. My approach, and I'll just, you know, first and foremost is I'm trying to get in the mind of someone who is just starting to embark on this journey. So the first thing was I didn't know where to start, so I needed to get some guidance. I needed to learn how to do it. So for me, I invested in a coach. I invested in a coach to where she was where I wanted to be. You know, there were certain qualities that my coach had. So I just got help. I didn't want to do it alone because I didn't really know what the process was going to be like, and I didn't really know where to start. And so I got help, and then it was again, we're talking about romantic relationship. I also made a commitment not to date for at least 3 months, 90 days. The program was 90 days. The coaching work, the healing coaching program was 90 days. So I made a personal commitment and promised to myself, I'm not going to date while I'm doing this healing work.
Why was that important for you?
Well, I didn't want any distraction getting in the way, and I didn't want to focus on anyone else. It was time for me.
Mm-hmm.
It was time for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it was time for me to be single for freaking longer than a month. You know?
Yeah.
I was a serial dater. I didn't want to be alone. I knew I had to go through that process though, or else I was going to keep repeating the same pattern. So the healing process looked like for me getting help, not doing it alone, making a personal commitment to myself to not date for 90 days.
Wow.
And it was also 3, to do the work, the deep inner work, the exercises, the reading, the talking to myself in the mirror, the holding my heart and having conversations with myself, the release writing, the, connecting with my inner child, and all these other tools. It was me doing that, knowing that this was going to be very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And emotional and draining. A lot of tears.
Yeah.
You know, healing isn't sexy. The process isn't sexy. However, it's very empowering.
Yeah.
Every day you feel better. You don't go from 0 to 60 every day, but every day you feel a little bit more better, and it just compounds. What I mean is every day you feel a little bit better when you're doing this deep inner healing work. It's more and more you are letting go of what's no longer serving you. More and more you're allowing your soul to come up. More and more you are telling your inner child, that little girl, that, okay, you're listening to her. You're there for her. You're hearing her. This is deep stuff, right? Like, it may sound a little weird unless you're in a program that teaches this.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'm like, people think I'm a weirdo, like when I talk sometimes, but I really don't. I don't care, because I know how powerful this is. But it's, it's knowing that you asked me, what's healing like for me, or what's it look like for me, or what was it like? It's knowing that you can't do it alone. It's knowing that if you are someone who is serious about calling in healthy love in your life in the future, you need to be single for a little bit. You need to learn how to become the best partner to yourself that you never had. And date yourself. I tell some of my clients, this is a challenge, and some of them are like, oh my God, I feel weird. Some are like, it was great. And this is what I did. Take yourself out to dinner. By yourself.
Yeah. Treat yourself Thursdays. Those were in my wheelhouse for sure.
Yeah. Great.
So powerful.
It's weird dating yourself. It's weird taking yourself out to a restaurant. That's where you can really learn how to be uncomfortable and start building this muscle of confidence, of independence. Because you see all these other people with their friends or with a couple or a date. Here's the other thing, guys. If you ever really observed this now, because it's just a habit. But if you ever go out and you just observe some couples or marriages, I just pick up on energy. And I'm not saying I'm always right, but I just feel like sometimes, like, I know who was on a first date and who is really nervous. I know who is, at least I think I do, I could be wrong. I know what, I feel like I can see, like, that must be a fulfilling relationship and really genuine, or this one's kind of cold and probably not that great. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's a little bold for me to say, but it's just an energy that gets exchanged. You know, when you see someone who is incompetent and who has a lot of insecurity, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm better than anyone. No. I'm just saying, I just know who is comfortable in their skin and who likes himself, and who's not so comfortable in their skin and who is just kind of trying to prove themselves.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. And
Is that cocky to say? I don't know if that was cocky to say or
I don't
not.
think it's cocky. I think it's observant. And I think also because we do this work, it is just kind of the nature of what we do. We just, we can pick up on the energy of people who are struggling, and people who need support, even if it's from a distance, right? So I think, at the end of the day, it's so powerful hearing just this idea of dating yourself before you start to entertain other relationships, especially my dear sisters out there, especially if you've been abused, especially if you've been in toxic and traumatic relationships, especially if you have come from toxic family systems and narcissism and all of those things. You probably have been your light is dimmed so much that you probably don't even know what it feels like to shine brightly, like at full capacity anymore. So that's why dating yourself and doing this inner healing is like imperative to you calling in that healthy love. You can't just start dating like all these people without blocking and setting boundaries and knowing how to say no and having good communication and trusting yourself to leave a situation that's uncomfortable. These are really, really important key factors in calling in that healthy love that we're talking about. These are the things that shifted for us so that we can teach this stuff, and hopefully it'll shift for you so you can teach other people too. Like our purpose is to ignite other people so everyone is lit up and like flaming hot for their lives and feeling passionate and all the things. So we're just we're just trying to pass the torch, to as many people as we can. That was the purpose and the goal, So one last question before we tell everybody where they can find you is, when you are not coaching and doing this work, what are some of your favorite things to do?
I love going to the gym. I love working out, because moving my body and just being out of my house, especially during this time, it helps me really shift my state of mind. So I love working out, and I also love listening to podcasts nonstop on personal development, and and putting myself out there to meet and make new friends. I'm going through a transition right now in my life, and we were talking about it earlier, before we hopped on here, to where I'm really am ready to call in some new friendships, to where women are on this personal development journey and working towards becoming the best possible version of themselves, and doing it with patience, with grace and commitment, and that's what I've been doing. And of course, spending time with my fiance. I really look forward to we both work quite a bit. He works his full-time job, and then he has a business that he's working on starting. And just our conversations together, a lot of times we eat dinner together, but sometimes if he's working late with the client, we'll come together and we'll have our tea and our toast and honey or dark chocolate and just talk.
I love that.
Yeah. So that's what I'm not coaching. That's what I'm doing, working out, listening to podcasts, reading books, trying to working towards intentionally building my new circle of girlfriends, enjoying our little tea and chocolate dates around 8 p.m. and after.
I love that. That's so cute. I know, especially whenever Eric was working super, he would go in he would come home pretty late. So we didn't get a lot of time in the evening together. So like mornings were like super special and sacred. Like we'd have coffee together and just like enjoy that time before he had to go into work. So it's all, I mean, funny thing is that that's what relationship is, right? It's not ever going to be this, we're together all the time. No,
Right.
Hopefully you're both working on your dreams and your goals and you guys make time for each other to spend and share in moments and you carve out that time in order to, I guess, continue to facilitate the growth of the relationship, whatever that time is, and it's going to morph and change. But yeah.
What do you do? What do you do when you're not coaching?
Ooh, when I'm not coaching, I like, especially now, because my life is completely different than it was, like a year ago. I'm walking Ricky and we're going to the beach, or I'm dancing in my living room, or meeting new friends. I work out at home, but I don't really, that's my next thing. I'm going to get back into my workout routine. Making dinner, cooking really beautiful meals. Like those are some of the things that I really, really enjoy. And I feel like there's some other things, but I can't think of it right now.
I feel like I want to join a book club, or maybe start a book club.
Ooh, I would be a virtual one if you had one.
I think I'll do that. I think I want to start a virtual. And ladies here, watching live the replay, go to meetup.com. Meetup.com. Might have to type in Baltimore, Maryland. But yeah, I think I might want to start a book club.
Yeah.
And I think I will do that. And it might just be like once, maybe every 3 weeks or something. And to where we read a chapter or two and then we come back. But I don't know. I can read a book though in like 3 weeks. So I don't know. I have to think about that a little bit more.
Yeah. So if I could put in a request, and I like, this is so great because this is how you make friends, guys. Like, so I want to just point out that Nikki and I worked in a program together like a year ago, and we've been following each other and just kind of seeing how we're like doing. And we decided that we wanted to start kind of talking a little bit more and kind of collaborating because we both, again, admire where we are in the journey. And we're building this friendship virtually.
Yeah.
COVID or no COVID, you can make friends. This is like, I've made several friends, pretty good friends.
You have?
From online. And it's the most insane thing in my entire existence, because I never thought that that'd be true. But why would I not think it's true, considering I met my fiance on Tinder? Like I should have known. But my request for this book club is that, can we find books that are less self-help, more fun, and like fantasy, or like
ooh, that's a good idea. Yes. I will let that roll around a bit.
I want to escape this world for a little bit and go into other things, because that's also important too, right? So we can get really bogged down in watching other people live their lives on TV. How are you going to live your life and start to call in the healthy love that you want for yourself and others, right? Yeah. So Nikki, this has been incredible. Tell everybody where they can find you, and make sure to add your links and stuff to the comment section after.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you. Well, if you just want to learn more about me and my story and my background, and how I help my clients, you can go to my website. It's aconfidentwomanunleashed.com. And there is, and if you are ready to start this healing journey, you can also look into my 90-day signature program, which is A Confident Woman Unleashed. And all the details about that are on my website. Who my program isn't for and who it is for. I really want to work with committed women who are ready to, who want to take this journey and who are committed, you know, to doing it, which requires, you know, being single for just a little bit, so we can do that deep work. There's a bunch of testimonials on there, so you can see what the process is like. And yeah, you guys are welcome to check out my Facebook group as well. It's a private women's only Facebook group. And I'll put the link in the comments as well to that. And that's called Create a Fulfilling Life in Relationship You Deserve. Okay?
I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Yay. So thank you guys so much for joining us. And Nikki, I will talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you, Brittany.
For being here.
Thank you, love. This was fun.
This is so fun. So fun. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, love.